Qing Dynasty, 1644 to 1912. The last imperial dynasty of China inherited a complex legal framework shaped by centuries of Chinese legal development, from the codifications of the Tang, 608 to 907, and Ming, 1368 to 1644 dynasties. The Qing legal system was deeply influenced by Confucian moral philosophy, emphasizing social hierarchy, moral education, and the maintenance of order, while simultaneously codifying rules for criminal and civil behavior. The dynasty's legal traditions represented a synthesis of pragmatic governance and ideological moralism, reflecting both continuity with previous dynasties and adaptations to new administrative realities. 1. The Qing Code, the Li. The core of Qing legal tradition was the Great Qing Legal Code, Da Qing Lu Li, officially promulgated in 1646. It was largely based on the Ming Code, but incorporated revisions to strengthen imperial authority, emphasize Confucian ethics, and address administrative needs. Like earlier dynastic codes, the Qing Code was divided into sections covering administrative regulations, criminal law, and procedural rules. The code was not just a legal instrument, but also a moral guide, stressing duties toward family, society, and the state. The Qing Code contained nearly 500 statutes, encompassing 436 main statutes and thousands of substatutes or regulations. It was organized hierarchically, beginning with the most serious offenses, capital crimes, and moving toward lesser offenses such as property violations or civil disputes. The code codified 5 punishments: wu, xing, the traditional corporal and capital punishments, ranging from whipping and penal servitude to execution. Significantly, the Qing Code retained the Ming practice of collective family responsibility, holding households accountable for the crimes of individual members, reflecting Confucian concerns with family as the foundation of social order. 2. Confucian influence. Confucianism profoundly shaped Qing legal traditions. Laws were framed not only to punish wrongdoing, but also to educate the populace and reinforce hierarchical social norms. Key Confucian principles included filial piety, loyalty to the emperor, and the maintenance of social harmony. Crimes were often evaluated not merely on legal grounds, but also in terms of moral failure. For example, a son who disobeyed his father could face severe punishment, not only as a legal transgression, but as a violation of social and moral order. The Qing legal system incorporated the Confucian concept of Qing Ming, moral consideration in adjudication, allowing magistrates discretion in determining the severity of punishment according to the circumstances and intent of the offender. This discretion emphasized the moral rehabilitation of the wrongdoer, reflecting the belief that law should serve as a tool for moral instruction as well as social control. #3. The role of the magistrate. Local magistrates were central to Qing law enforcement. They acted as judges, prosecutors, and administrators, embodying both legal and moral authority. Magistrates were responsible for maintaining public order, collecting taxes, overseeing local disputes, and implementing imperial edicts. They were expected to interpret the Qing Code in a manner consistent with Confucian ethics, often blending formal legal procedures with moral judgment. Magistrates relied on a combination of written law, precedent, and practical experience. Their decisions could vary significantly depending on local conditions, personal judgment, and social status of the parties involved. To assist magistrates, the Qing government issued guidelines and commentaries, providing examples of case resolutions and emphasizing moral considerations. These materials effectively functioned as early legal manuals and case law references, ensuring a degree of consistency and enforcement across the empire. 4. Criminal law and punishments. The Qing Code delineated a broad range of criminal offenses, including murder, theft, bribery, adultery, rebellion, and treason. Punishments were meticulously graded according to severity and social status of the offender. Capital punishment was reserved for the most serious crimes, including treason, murder, and robbery, whereas corporal punishments and penal servitude were applied for lesser crimes. A distinctive feature of Qing criminal law was the integration of moral judgment into sentencing. For instance, officials found guilty of corruption faced harsh penalties, not only for breaking the law, but also for violating Confucian ideals of moral integrity. Similarly, crimes disrupting family hierarchy, such as a parent abusing a child or a child rebelling against a parent, were treated severely to preserve social order. 5. Civil law and family regulation. Civil law in Qing China was heavily intertwined with family and kinship obligations. Disputes over land, inheritance, and marriage were governed by codified statutes that emphasized family hierarchy and moral duty. Marriage law, for instance, regulated dowries, inheritance rights, and remarriage, ensuring that property and social relations remained within the moral and legal expectations of Confucian society. The Qing Code also addressed contractual agreements, debt, and property disputes, often encouraging mediation through local elders or magistrates before resorting to formal litigation. This reflects a broader Confucian preference for harmony and conciliation over adversarial legal confrontation. 6. Legal procedure and evidence. Qing legal procedure emphasized confession, witness testimony, and documentation. Confessions were highly valued, often considered the strongest form of evidence. Torture was legally sanctioned under strict conditions to extract confessions, particularly in serious criminal cases. However, legal manuals cautioned magistrates against abuse and required careful verification to avoid miscarriages of justice. Witness testimony and documentary evidence were also used, especially in property or family disputes. The Qing legal system recognized the importance of precedent and practical examples, creating a body of case-based reasoning that complemented the codified statutes. This hybrid system allowed magistrates flexibility while maintaining the authority of the written code. #7. Ethnic and regional considerations. The Qing dynasty ruled a multi-ethnic empire, including Han Chinese, Manchus, Mongols, Tibetans, and other groups. Legal practices adapted to these contexts, combining centralized Chinese law with local customs. For example, Mongol and Tibetan communities were often allowed to follow customary legal practices in internal disputes as long as these did not challenge imperial authority. The Qing legal system, therefore, was both universalizing, imposing the Qing Code, and flexible, accommodating regional diversity. 8. Comparison with previous dynasties. Compared to the Ming legal system, the Qing Code emphasized greater moral and Confucian content and provided magistrates with more interpretive discretion. It also improved administrative guidance, including commentaries and case examples, which helped magistrates navigate complex legal and social questions. Despite these refinements, the Qing legal system retained harsh corporal and capital punishments, reflecting continuity with earlier Chinese legal traditions and the enduring influence of legalist thought on state control. Legacy of Qing legal traditions. Qing legal traditions influenced modern Chinese legal development well into the 20th century. Many aspects of family law, criminal classification, and civil dispute resolution trace back to Qing statutes. The blending of moral philosophy with law, the central role of local magistrates, and the hierarchical approach to punishment continued to shape legal thought and practice even after the dynasty's collapse. The Qing Code also left an enduring legacy in the historiography of Chinese law, serving as a primary source for scholars studying imperial governance, Confucian moral philosophy, and the evolution of legal institutions in East Asia. Its intricate balance of codified rules, moral guidance, and administrative discretion exemplifies the complexity of traditional Chinese legal culture. Sources 1. Bartlett, Beatrice S. Monarchs and Ministers, The Grand Council in Mid-Qing China, 1723 to 1820. University of California Press, 1991. Tu Holsway, AFP China in Central Asia, The Early Stage, 125 to 1735. Brill, 1979. 3. Jiang Yonglin, The Mandate of Heaven and the Great Ming Code, University of Washington Press, 2014. 4. Liang Zhiping, The Chinese Legal Tradition, Oxford University Press, 2000. 5. Elman Benjamin A., A Cultural History of Civil Examinations in Late Imperial China, University of California Press, 2000. 6. Crossley, Pamela Kyle, A Translucent Mirror, History and Identity in Qing Imperial Ideology, University of California Press, 1999. 7. Wakeman, Frederick, The Great Enterprise, The Manchu Reconstruction of Imperial Order in 17th Century China, University of California Press, 1985.